Looks like we're going to move on to the next presentation, which is Agriculture, Weights and Measures. Director Catherine Vanderwall.
Good morning, Board. Catherine Vanderwall, Agricultural Commissioner and Sealer of Weights and Measures. So 2024 accomplishments. With your board's help and assistance, our office received the new weight truck, which is a heavy capacity weight truck used to test large capacity scales, truck scales, livestock scales, that sort of thing. We also hosted continuing education classes for our pesticide applicators. Having these local classes helps people from having to travel afar to meet their continuing education requirements. We also published and presented the first Weights and Measures report. And kind of going off of what the previous presentation was, my department, we had 2 permanent position vacancies in 2024, and we were able to fill those in a timely manner without having any long time frame of gaps there. Additionally, all of our extra help positions we were able to fill for 2024, as well as meeting all of our state mandated requirements. So 2025, our focus will be to certify and begin operation of our new weight truck. We are going to be hosting an outreach class for the cannabis industry to focus on pesticide laws and regulations, worker health and safety, and we are inviting some other agencies to also participate in that outreach to provide information to that industry. Another focus will be training of current and new staff. Currently, I have about half of my staff have been there less than 14 months, so there is some training that needs to be done so that people can work independently in the field and better serve our community. We are going to continue forward publishing a Weights and Measures report on an annual basis. And I know one thing that has been discussed previously, and is going to be a focus for this year, is to update the 2017 Crop Report Plus, which is the Agricultural Economic Report. So kind of get some updated figures on that. Some data points for 2024. So these are some of the things that my office, some of the work that was performed. A lot of what we do is regulatory and mandated by legislation. So we've done 34 pesticide safety inspections. Certified farmers market inspections were 2. We do have a limited number of those in the county. Terminal parcel package inspections. So these are packages with agricultural products going through UPS and other shipping facilities. So that's the number of packages that were inspected. Commercial weighing and measuring devices inspected and tested was 980. And our pest detection traps deployed and maintained for this season was 620. And that's our extra help position. That's primarily their role. So similar data points that we're going to be looking at for 2025. Pesticide safety inspections, the goal is to actually increase those numbers to have more of a presence in the field, ensuring people are applying pesticides in a safe way and that worker health and protection standards are being followed. Phytosanitary certificates, certified farmers market certificates, and certified producer certificates, those are all going to be dependent on the number of people who participate in that program. I just do want to say that the phytosanitary certificates, those are federal documents that are issued for the exportation of commodities outside of the United States. So that does play a critical role in helping our local producers facilitate trade. And again, the parcel packages, any incoming nursery and plant shipments, our weights and measures devices, and our pest detection traps. So with that, does your board have any questions?
Did you bring the truck?
Staff is actually going to be working on calibrating the fuel tank tomorrow.
little things.
Yes.
Supervisor Spatier.
Just a quick question. Just to be able to recognize if we're seeing a decrease in farmers or an increase in farmers or cattle ranchers or whatnot, because we see the totals within your crop report, but that's specific to the product itself. Do you do the ag ID or does the state do the employee ID? Would that be a way to recognize if we're seeing a reduction or an increase or a stagnation?
So I believe the USDA Farm Service Agency, they issue, and I'm not sure the exact name of it, but there's like an ID number for farmers or a farm ID number, something to that effect. But not every person probably has one, but that would be a good number or resource to start with.
Okay, just looking for a way to see if we're seeing a trend of a loss like we have seen in the last, decades and whatnot. So just curious. Thank you.
Sure. And hopefully that's something that will be captured in the economic report once that's updated.
Right.
Go ahead, Supervisor.
Is there any tracking of the livestock produced?
Just through the crop report.
Okay.
Yes.
So the smaller, like... Microphone? Oops, I'm sorry. So the smaller, kind of mom and pop operations may not be in that, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
That's primarily, I think, what we have.
Right. So and gathering information for the crop report is a lot of outreach effort. There are some people who don't want to give their information and we can't force them to. So it's just a lot of, outreach and finding out who's out there and who's producing those types of commodities.
Thank you.
Supervisor Spatier.
Just a brief question, a little bit outside of the realm of the presentation itself, but I know that in Yolo County there was a finding for bird flu. I know that we kind of took a look at that when that first starting rearing its ugly head. The proximity of it, has that changed our approach to it at this moment in time?
No.
Okay, and I know we're very limited in the amount of poultry that we have here, but just wanted to ask.
Right. I mean, it definitely would impact poultry. I know the state has put a ban on poultry shows, so that could impact, our youth programs, 4-H FFA. To my knowledge, there has not been any detected cases in Lake County, so it's just a matter of my office does have a hotline number. If somebody finds a bird or needs that information to have something tested, they can call our office and we can provide them that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment about this presentation? Anyone on Zoom? All right, Betsy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Betsy Kahn for the Essential Public Information Center. Ms. Vanderwall, I have two questions for you. You mentioned numbers of inspections that were made. Of those, can you tell us how many corrective actions were required? I mean, what was the impact of those inspections? And then also, I don't know if I missed it, but I think you have invested a considerable amount of effort in supporting the Cannabis Ordinance Task Force and the reconciliation of traditional agriculture with cannabis cultivation is a major issue for the whole county. And I wonder if you could comment on anything about that part of your work. Thank you.
Sure. So the first question, we do have that information in my office. I don't have that readily available at my fingertips at this moment. But if you wanted to contact my office, that is something we could discuss further. As far as I'm not sure exactly what the question was as far as the cannabis cultivation. But true, yes. So I do sit on the Cannabis Task Force. We are working towards that. As far as cannabis in my department, so one of the things, so we do weights and measures, so cannabis operators are required to have their scales certified and tested, so we oversee that. Any use of pesticides on cannabis operations, my staff treats that the same as traditional ag as far as pesticide inspections. making sure that those operators are complying with the worker health and safety regulations.
All right. Thank you for answering that. Okay. Donna, if you'd like to unmute.
Thank you, Donna Makowitz in Clear Lake Oaks. Does the county have an incinerator for hazardous cannabis waste? And if not, do you plan to acquire one? And if not, how is the hazardous waste measured as unrecognizable? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that question. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I don't have an answer for that. That's not within
Okay.
my purview.
All right. We will take a note of that and find another way to answer that for you, Donna. Thank you for the question. Is there anyone else on Zoom? All right. With that, thank you, Catherine, for your report or your update. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Next, we will be addressing Air Quality Management District Director Doug Gearhart.
Good morning, Board. So, Air Quality Management District, I'm Doug Gerhardt, I'm the Air Pollution Control Officer. The Air Quality Management District, just the quick statement is we are a regulatory agency mandated by state and federal law to enforce local, state, and federal regulations related to clean air. So, with that, our accomplishments for 2024, we've had a lot of challenges, but through all that, we have transitioned the online burn permit program to our office, so we now run it through our website. We've worked with the county auditor and treasury to implement credit card payments for that online system, so it can be done much easier and much simpler for the public. And we have met all air quality standards for 2024. We haven't had any exceeds. We're still processing the data, but we do monitor that throughout the year, so we haven't exceeded any standards. We just have to get all the data processed still. We do have our fee rule and other rules that are pending. As soon as we have some staff time, we're going to get them to this board for consideration and direction going forward. We have the Geysers Air Monitoring Program. It's in process. We are working on an RFQ as we speak for a third-party financial consultant to help us run GAMP. And then throughout the year, the numbers will come up in the next couple slides, but we've processed over 650 permits this year for stationary sources, and then issued over 1,100 online burn permits for November and December. 60 smoke management plans for that same time period. Smoke management plans can include up to 30, 40 different locations as part of that plan. So, in terms of parcels, each one of those could be 20, 30, 40 parcels that are included on each plan. So, and then we have hired an administrative assistant in 2024 to help us with all the online burn permits and help us manage the phone calls and responding to public inquiries. So 2025 points of emphasis, again, first priority is dealing with our staffing shortage, and we would much rather hire staff than pay out-of-county consultants to do the same work that, we could be paying someone to live here and be here locally for. But we're making good progress on that with the help of HR. So we have to complete our rule adoption process with this board. We have a hotspots report that we have to do this year, and that's an extensive report. We think we are, if we can get a couple people that we are looking at for interviews, we will have some staff that will be able to do that report, and they'll learn in the process as well. So along with that, we do have air monitoring equipment upgrades and collection system upgrades. We're going to do a number of overhauls to the online burn permit system just to make the process and experience for the public much simpler and easier. There's a lot of confusion still on that, but we're going to work on that this year as well. So our points of and metrics. Right now we have 2.8 full-time staff. We should be at 7. We have 647 source permits, and the breakdown: authority to construct is 315, permits to operate 332. We've received 54 permit applications this year for stationary sources. We've issued 22 of those, and we do have 60. Well, as of January 1st, we had 64 pending. We have issued a number of those, but many of those that are still pending are incomplete. We have sent letters, and we're working on getting complete data, and so that we can finish processing those permits. I think there's only 15 permits that are in line that are complete and that we are working on processing right now. So the last burn season, so not this person's previous burn season, there were 1,900 burn permits issued and 198 smoke management plans, 33 NESHAP, so that's asbestos notifications for building demolitions, renovations that we have to deal with. We've had 11 serpentine plans this year, and only 16 air quality complaints. The vast majority were related to open burning, and a few with dust, one general odor, and of course we have one burn barrel. We usually see one every few years that we deal with. We haven't had any violations of the air quality standards, and our PM, which is this is the federal standard. We're only at 70%. Our highest values are at 70% of the standard, and ozone, our highest values are, this is 2023, we're 85% of the standard. So we're staying below the standard with a little bit of buffer. But as they adjust the standards, we have to keep watching that. So metrics for 2025, it'll be basically, we'll be watching the same metrics that I just went over, looking at staffing levels, permits. The only thing we'll be adding, hopefully, will be bringing the grant programs back. So we have a number of grant programs that are on hold at the moment. We've only had to give up a few opportunities for grants. Most of them we've been able to hold, and as soon as we have staffing, we can re-energize those grants and get them moving again without loss of funding. So we'll have those updates going forward.
All right. Yep. Supervisor Sabatier, you have a question?
Just for clarification, once we breach the 100%, that's when we don't have attainment, both federal and the
State.
And state? I forget the exact title that you had up there.
Right. That's just for clean air standards. So there are certain federal standards and there are certain state standards, and some of them are, they're the same measurement, but like the federal standard has an 8-hour, the state standard has a 1-hour. So we could lose attainment for federal, but not for state. So there's a few flexibilities, but yes, it basically be, we lose one, we lose both, would be the simplest way to explain it.
Okay.
But either way, it would be the same result. It wouldn't, if we lose attainment on either one, it's the same impact.
Vice Chair?
A question with regard to the 650 stationary permits, was that calendar year 2024, or is that the current fiscal year that we're still in?
That's for the calendar year. Our permit renewal period, we issue permits for the annual permits. They're November 1 through October 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Supervisor Owen?
Yeah, I noticed that you had 64 pending permits.
Yeah.
And 22 complete. How long does it usually take to get through that permit process?
Well, the average for the last 10 years is about 90 to 100 days. We shoot for less, but the average is probably 90 to 100 days. And we have up to 6 months from a complete application being submitted to issue the permit per state law. But we normally never, it's very rare that we hit that. So we're still, for most cases, we're still close to that 100 to 120 day time period right now.
So these are
So-
primarily new applications, then newer applications?
Right. We're churning through as they come in, working on the oldest ones and working our way, continuing to, first come, first serve kind of permit
So the
processing.
22 were actually submitted in 2024?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vice Chair Rasmussen? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and open it up to the public, if there's anyone that would like to comment.
out here now.
I know, it's hard to find me, sorry.
All right, anyone on Zoom? All right. If there's not anything else, thank you for the report, Mr. Gearhart, and we'll go ahead and move on to our next.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one more question.
Whoa, well,
What, how's the hiring process going?
It's going pretty well. We had interviews last week, and we are just working through our financial review to ensure that we have everything in order before we take the next step. So we should have a decision hopefully later today
Okay, perfect.
on where we're
thank you.
going. So.
all right.